Let's just test your microphones.
Hello. Of
Hello, thanks for being here.
course. Hello.
Hi.
The dishwasher's going in the background. It's quiet now, but I wasn't sure if anyone could hear it. I'm like, hope it's okay. Can you hear that? Or is it okay?
It sounds good.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I'm just going to turn off my camera and mute, but as people come on, I'll just pop in and say hi. And oh, Alan is not going to be here. So just an FYI, he's out sick. Hey everybody, welcome. Thanks for being here. It looks like we have just about everybody. So Janie and Judith and Gisela, let's test your microphones.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Hello.
Very good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Awesome. And I just want to let you all know that Alan is out sick, so he won't be able to join us today. So you can go ahead and go back to mute and you can turn off your videos for now.
Can you all hear me?
Hello, hello. Can y'all hear me?
Here we go.
All right, for sure.
We can hear you.
All right,
Heather, can
perfect.
you hear me?
Yes, Latoya.
And does this UNLV Family Day video have sound?
Yes, people can see it on YouTube, right? No, the video does not, but people
Okay,
can see it and hear
that's
it.
why I wasn't sure about my mic. I'm like, I don't hear nothing coming out my speakers. Okay. All right, let me see what we got going here.
All right, so thanks everybody for joining us. All right, everybody, thanks for joining us for UNLV Family Day. My name is Adam Crist. I'm the Director of Communications for the Division of Student Affairs, which is sponsors of this event and is sort of the umbrella that's over a lot of stuff within the university, but including the family network that Heather administers. So thanks so much for joining us. You know, we understand that we all would love to be meeting you in person and having you, on campus today to be able to do this event together, but obviously situations dictate that we can't be. So that's sad to all of us and to you guys too, I'm sure. But hopefully we can make the most of it, and just like everything that we're sort of doing this semester and this school year, we are learning as we go how to adapt and how to do things in the safest possible way for all of our students, and for our families and for our staff. So it's challenging, and for a number of reasons, not just the pandemic, but also many of the social justice issues that are going on. And so we just try to, so the name of the game this year has been, how do we extend grace to ourselves and students and faculty and staff, and then learn as we go, because we don't always have the answers for how we're going to, make the most of this situation. But that's what we do. So hopefully we can all be back next year to do this in person. So yeah, so without further ado, I'll pass it on to Latoya Burtis.
Hello, I'm Latoya Burtis, and I'm the Associate Director of Programming at the Rec Center. Again, just like Adam said, we're really excited to be here. We truly wish we could be doing this in person, but we're going to make the best of what we have. So one of the things I want to touch base on before we get started with the student panelists is to talk a little bit about health and safety. It's been a fine balance. 2020 has been a year that none of us expected and none of us have ever prepared or done before. So again, for those students that are coming on campus, we're trying to find a balance between being healthy and safe, and at the same time, making sure that students have an opportunity to have some sort of human connection as well. So we do ask that you give us a little grace, and us, that means faculty, staff, and the students as well, because again, this is new, and just be a little flexible. And also, if you're a family member or you have a family member that's living in the res halls, again, we hear you, we've heard you, we took notes, and we responded. So there's going to be additional funding available so that students that are living in the res halls can get engaged and kind of find some of those social distance events that are coming soon. For those of you that do follow us on social media, Heather does an amazing job of keeping everybody posted on what's going on campus. So be sure, if you're not following us, to follow us, because that'll be a great place to find out what's going on. So with that being said, I'm actually going to pass it to my partner in crime, which is Heather, and it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Latoya. Like Adam and Latoya said, we are so excited at least to see everyone virtually. And Latoya, later you'll have to tell us about that cute doggy that walked in the background. I feel like no meeting is complete without a dog or a cat appearance. So thank you for that. So we just have a few quick announcements before we get to our students. We accepted a lot of questions ahead of time from you. And some of the questions were not things that students could answer. So we just wanted to go over those answers really quickly. The first one was about the FAFSA. So that's the free application for federal student aid. And it's something that is filled out online. The priority deadline is November 15th. So you're applying now for aid for next year. So your student has to log into that student aid site and upload all of their information, tax information, which sometimes includes your info if you're claiming the student. The renewals take about 15 minutes, and you want to be in as early in the queue as you can. So if you're waiting until January to fill out the FAFSA, it's really too late for next year. So try to make an appointment with yourself and your student to get that FAFSA done. The office itself for financial aid is not open for in-person appointments. And the reason is because the physical logistics of the office don't allow for the kind of social distancing that we need right now. But they are responding to inquiries online and over the phone. And we did hear you there too. So we're hiring more staff to help in the financial aid office. About 15,000 students were awarded financial aid last year without a hitch, so this current year, and then there were about 1,000 students for one reason or another who were either selected for verification or they didn't have the right paperwork on file. So we know that a lot of you experienced that challenge, and we're working on it for sure. Commencement, so graduation ceremonies, all of your students did get an email earlier this week, and we posted the information for you too about commencement having to go virtual. So we will have For those who graduated in spring 2020, there'll be a virtual commencement, and then also the fall as well. So all of those dates are listed in there. And it's possible that your colleges may try to do something in person. We don't know 100% yet how the colleges will handle this. It's really all about the numbers and how many people we're allowed to have in an event at one time. And Adam's going to talk a little bit later about some cap and gown loaning programs that we're working on too. So in case your student wants to take pictures in a cap and gown, we have some assistance available there. Some of you saw the UNR schedule change, the University of Nevada, Reno, that they're going remote after Thanksgiving, that they removed their spring break. So we just want to address that. Our schedule started out a little bit different with 80% of the classes online to start, and any classes with 50 or more students enrolled were put online to start. So at this time, there aren't any schedule changes to report. And we've also tried to minimize the number of people passing in the hallways by staggering the start times of classes just a little bit. And of course, stepping up all those cleaning efforts around campus. Okay, so I think that's all of the questions that we wanted to get to that the students couldn't answer. So now for the fun part, we'd like to introduce you to our fabulous students, and we're going to go alphabetical by first name. They're going to share their name, their class standing, their hometown, and then something that's brought them joy in the last week. So our first student is April Zangiri.
Hi everyone, I am April Zangari. I am a junior at UNLV this year studying secondary education. My original hometown is Port Orchard, Washington, a little town west of Seattle across the water. And something that's brought me joy in the past week was being able to finish a non-school related book. So that was fabulous, and I'll actually talk a little bit more about that book in a later question.
Awesome, thank you for being here today. Next is Gisela Molina. Oh, I think we lost your sound, Gisela. Can you hear me okay? I think your mic, it was working before. Well, how about we come back to you? We'll go to Janie, and maybe you can see if it, yeah, you can get it to work. So next is Janie Negoza.
Hi everyone, my name is Janie Negoza, and I am a senior this year, majoring in secondary education. I was born in Chicago, but I was pretty much raised in Vegas since I was like 7, so I consider Vegas like my hometown. And one thing that has brought me joy in the last week is making a really strong connection with my mentor teacher. So since I am an education major, I'm doing my practicum where I observe basically a high school class every week. And so this past week, I got to really just have a really good conversation with her about her teaching career, and she was giving me like advice. So that really brought me some joy and motivation.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here too. Next is Jovan Palomar.
I'm Jovan Palomar. I'm a junior. I'm from Anchorage, Alaska, so it's pretty cold up there compared to Vegas. And then one thing that brought me joy was in the last weekend, I found out that one of my sisters is having a girl, and my other sister just had gotten married. So yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So much to celebrate.
Thank you.
Okay, next over to Judith Fuentes Retolaza.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Judith. I'm currently a senior, and my hometown is California. And something that has brought me great joy this week is I am getting ready to submit my Fulbright application. So the deadline is on Tuesday, and I'm finally ready to submit. So fingers crossed. Thank you.
Wow, that's amazing. What an accomplishment. Okay, next we have Kirsten Mary, and then we'll go back up and try to get the student who is working on her microphone. Kirsten.
Hi everyone, my name is Kirsten Mary. I'm a first-year graduate student in the College of Hospitality, and I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So just like Jovan, nice and cold there, so Vegas is a nice treat. One thing that has brought me joy this week is I'm actually an academic success coach with the Academic Success Center. And one of my undergraduate students I was working with last semester was having really tough time, wasn't understanding time management, having tough time in classes. However, I met with her this week and she is a whole new person. She's utilizing all the skills we worked on. Her classes are going really well and she's working on building relationships within her family and community. So it brought me so much joy.
That's wonderful. Thanks for sharing that story. And Gisela, should we see if your microphone is working? I don't think we can hear you.
It says you're unmuted, Gisela, but I just wonder if maybe on my end, it looks like you've pressed unmute, but maybe there's just
It might be the headphones.
Yeah.
You might have to unplug. Well, while you're testing that, I'll just say that this picture on the screen right now, I just love. This is a photo from last year's Family Day. We had a great jazz brunch in the dining commons and it was so much fun. So we're really hopeful that life will get a little bit more back to normal by March. And hopefully by the end of March, we can host something again. If we can't do it indoors, at least hopefully we could do a big picnic outdoors on the academic mall. So we'll be in touch soon with that date. Gisela, did it work? Do you want to introduce yourself? Oh, no, it's not working.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was working a minute ago, though.
That's weird. Well, I will say just for a second, for people that are watching on YouTube, you can ask questions. There's a chat function in there. I think if you're on mobile, there's like a little smiley face, and if you tap there, you can type your question in. If you're on your PC, if you're on your home computer, it's probably more obvious than that. It should just be a window. Feel free to ask questions there. We'll try to answer them. And as always, if you have something that you maybe don't want to post publicly, Heather's always available to answer those questions, via Facebook or email or whatever. So lots of options if you have questions.
That's true. I get a lot of messages. The email is parents, PARENTS, @unlv.edu. And I also get a lot of Facebook messages. Those tend to be the 11 o'clock at night kind of messages that come in over Facebook, but I try to answer them as fast as we can. So Latoya, do you want to, can I pass it over to you to ask?
Let's just test Gisela just one more time. It looked like.
Sure.
If you want to take a second and restart, maybe that'll help. I always think, and then but we'll be here, and I'll keep monitoring just in case anything weird goes with your connection. You can always text me, but I'll get you back in.
Okay, over to Latoya.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and kick it off, and I'm gonna start with Janie. Can you tell me what a typical day for you looks like?
Yes, I would love to answer that question. So for me, it is unique, especially this semester with COVID and everything. But kind of to get an idea, usually on the weekdays, I usually get up around 7 or 8 in the morning, and I basically just get ready for the day as if I'm going to school. So I eat breakfast, kind of get started to be productive. So if I have class that morning, I'll attend class virtually. And then after that class, I usually study and do homework right away for a couple of hours. And then, while I'm studying, if I do get restless, just staying in my chair or just constantly looking at a screen and doing homework, I'll try to, get some physical activity in. So I'll work out. I'll, go work out, or I'll go running or take a walk, something that'll kind of get me up and out of my chair. And so after that, I will do work. I do have a part-time job. So if I have work that day, I'll start work then, and I'll try to get that done. If I don't have work that time, then I'll work on things for my extracurricular activities. So any organizations that I'm in, I have a leadership role in them. So if I have something to do for that, I'll work on that. And then keep in mind that throughout this very, homework and work and extracurriculars, I do try to take breaks when I'm studying or working from home. And so that's kind of like during the day. And then after dinner, I will usually try to get all my homework and all my work done around 9, I would say. And so 9 to 10, that's like an hour for like self-care, like anything that I want to do, kind of like wind down for the day, just kind of like have time for myself, like take a shower or like read a book or like do something that like I enjoy or watch a show. And then I always make sure that I'm a heavy planner. So before I go to bed, I always look at like my planner, and I always like look at my schedule, like if I have any events coming up, or I just like to know what like tomorrow's going to look like. If I have any assignments due, what's coming up kind of thing. And I like to plan for that. And then basically I try to be in bed by 10 and then I try to aim to like sleep by 11, right? So just so that I have enough hours to sleep and kind of rest. But overall, in general, I would say I, try to be productive on my weekdays. And I definitely try to establish like a schedule and a routine, going to school and working in the week.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. It sounds like you stay very organized and you stick to your schedule, and that really helps you a lot.
I definitely try.
Okay, so the next question is kind of related. A lot of families out there were talking about time management and how they were sort of worried about their students who seem to kind of go off track and not manage their time really well. So Gisela, can you tell us a little bit about how you manage your time?
Hi, hello. Can you hear me now? Okay. So I know most college students use a calendar, a spreadsheet, or even a planner to stick to their schedule, but I actually use my notes app on my phone, and I have it titled as my to-do list. I'll actually show you. And I have my courses, my assignments typed down, and other obligations such as my scholarships, service events, or even my work schedule. And it helps me fulfill my goals for the day and keep track of what assignments I should be working on that are most important to least important, which I have it typed down numerically. And it helps me carve out a balance of work and fun because I know it's important to not overwork myself and to always like make time for myself, make time for family and friends. So actually right now, because I am 2 weeks ahead, I am now just chilling, working on other assignments. So yeah, that's how I think it's a really great resource that some students should try out, and it's really accessible. Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm so glad your microphone is working. Sometimes the reboot is always the way, right? Okay, back to Latoya.
All right. So this next one's for Kirsten. How are you finding success in this unique semester?
Thank you for that, Latoya. Biggest thing is knowing that I'm not alone. So knowing that everyone's going through this together, we have each other's backs, and then utilizing all the resources and asking for help. I think as humans, we're always scared to ask for help, whether it's professors, faculty, resources. So it was that first call or that first appointment. And once you reach past that, oh, it's so great. So resources UNLV has, so, Academic Success Center, the tutoring, coaching, CAPS, which is counseling and psychological services. Your college might have some awesome virtual events. So that's something that I've been looking at and going to, attending all these really fun free workshops. So that's something to look at. And the one thing that has helped me get through any of this is creating 3 small goals every day. So kind of what Giselle was talking about in terms of, helps her with her goals, time management, 3 small goals. So for me, it might be simple as go to the grocery store, read a chapter in my book, do 5 questions on my homework. Having 3 goals holds me accountable for what I have to get done, but it also is kind of that achievement. It's really hard right now because you don't have people who, in person, you could high five when you accomplish something. So having those 3 goals that you've created for yourself. And again, I use mine just on my iPhone on the notes page. So again, a great resource.
That's great. And I should disclose that Latoya and I are also PhD students. So we are totally taking notes on all of these tips too, because I think even though we've been through years of school and years of working on staff, it's always good to hear these reminders. Okay, the next one, this came up in a lot of the questions from families. How are you dealing with feelings of isolation and loneliness? So we have a couple of students who are going to tackle this one. Jovan, would you like to go first?
Oh yeah, for sure. So when everything happened, it's you're susceptible to feeling isolated, like you're feeling by yourself because of everything going on. For me, the first thing I did was, because since I did live next to campus, I started going on walks around campus, just make sure like I was distancing myself. And so it gave me time to think, and so it just made me feel less overwhelmed and isolated, but more into with myself. And also during the summer, I also took a few chemistry classes, and I took them with my friends. And so what we did is we had like online study sessions, so we could help each other study and try to simulate what it was like before COVID hit. So I didn't feel as isolated or by myself, because I was with my friends even though they're not next to me. So yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And April, would you like to answer here too?
Yeah, for sure. So I personally think it's really important to, or at least in this unique circumstance, to kind of get in touch with yourself. So I personally like to do things that give me some kind of happiness and some kind of small pocket of joy throughout the day, whether that looks like reading a book for 15 minutes before bed or taking an extra long shower. I personally have really enjoyed journaling during this time. Whether you like to write or not, I think it's really important to get those feelings out and makes you feel less isolated in the grand scheme of things. I also think it's really important, like Jovan said, to get connected, have some kind of normalcy. So, lean on those friends, lean on those family members, and then lean on the friends that are like family to you. So, you aren't alone. You need to remember that these times are unique, but you are stronger than your circumstance. So I'll have love to give. I also think for students, especially because I am here as a representative of the peer mentorship program here at UNLV, reach out to your college, see if there is a peer mentoring opportunity available, and utilize it. I think that it's been really helpful for me to connect with my mentees, have that one-on-one experience with them, even if it's virtual, and just get to talk about life and share all those feelings. It really makes you, feel more connected to not only yourself, your friends, but the university in general.
Thank you so much. We really want students and families to know that they are not alone. So even if you feel like you're alone, there's so many people here who want to help you. And as April and Jovan said, be peer mentors and connect with you. So we do want to mention, again, like Kirsten mentioned, counseling and psychological services is operational and doing telephone appointments. And I talked to them before this presentation, and they listed all of the things that our students have said. And one of their other suggestions was, if you have a senior citizen either in your neighborhood or maybe somebody in your family that you haven't connected with in a while, this is a great opportunity to pick up the phone and just say, hey, I know we haven't talked in a long time, but I'm just checking on you and I wanted to see how you're doing. And it might be a great time to rekindle a relationship like that. Okay, I'll kick it back over to Latoya.
Thank you, Heather. April kind of led me right into my next question, and I'm going to tag team and go to Kirsten first on this one. Can you tell me a little bit about how you make connections with your professors, and who have been, or has there been a particularly professor that's been wonderful about engaging students online?
Thank you. I think that relationships with professors are so important for your college times. Professors, faculties, graduate assistants, TAs, anything like that. Because you really don't know if they hold that letter of recommendation for graduate school or maybe an internship, your dream internship, your professor might actually have connection. So there's someone you do want to get to know, and they're not, I promise you, they are not as scary as some people think. And one of a story I can share is I have my one professor, I'm in an accounting class, and anything math related stuff for me. So I go to his office hours 1 to 2 times every single week. And what's been great about his office hours is that our classes are on Tuesdays and they're only on Mondays and Wednesdays. So he's given the opportunity that, hey, if you ever need outside of office hours, just send an email. We can schedule a time on WebEx Virtual to go through homework and such. And so he's been amazing. So being available for students, he, just sends, you send an email, hey, do you have any time this week? He'll go, yep, Thursday 12. Does that work for you? Perfect. So set up a time with him and he's always there. And that's something that's helped me a lot, feel comfortable. The virtual life's been hard, as we all know. So having professors who are really open to making schedules work, even if it doesn't completely work with yours. And he told me, he said, you're one of the only students that come to my office hours. Keep in mind, there are 40 students in this class. And I know for a fact I'm not the only one struggling in this class. So parents, push your kids, students to definitely utilize your professor's office hours. They want to help you and it will reflect in their work and their grades, especially if they don't do well in a test. They can go back to the professor and the professor will say, I see you've been trying a lot. Let's see if we can figure something out for you. So that is what I think about building those relationships is so important.
April, would you like to chime in on this one?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. So just like Kirsten said, I'm going to echo a lot of what she was saying. Professors care about students. I think it's a very big college misconception that professors are just there to get a paycheck. Professors are professors because they genuinely love what they do. That is something that I've learned as I've gone through my experience here at UNLV. They love their topics. They love their research. They're there because they genuinely care about what they're doing. So they want to help you. And I think it's more important than ever to establish those connections because we aren't in person. And it's not as easy just to hold back after class for 2 minutes and ask a professor a question. It kind of takes a little bit more effort than it used to. So that's definitely something that's super important. I know, like Kirsten said, more kids are confused and frustrated than ever. And it's important to reach out and show your professors that you care about what they're doing and what they're teaching you, and you care about your learning. We're here because we're paying to go to college, we're paying to get an education. So we might as well make the most of it. So just as a little shout out, my EDU 280, which is my Valuing Cultural Diversity class for my major, and my professor this semester, his name is Mr. Averill Kelly. He's a first-time professor here at UNLV and a teacher in Clark County for quite a bit of years. And he has been absolutely wonderful. I actually had some technical issues in the beginning of the semester establishing my internet connection. And when I had to miss a class, he reached out and asked if I wanted to meet for 30 minutes one-on-one. This is something that's never happened to me at UNLV. A professor's never reached out to me and said, hey, let's meet. And during that time, he asked me, about my situation. How many classes was I taking? Was I working? All of which were true. And he just really wanted to establish that connection. It's something that I've never experienced before. That meant so much to me personally, and that I'll take with me for the rest of my life. So professors are here to care. They're here to teach you, but they're also here to establish a sense of, educational journey at UNLV. So reach out to your professors. They're awesome.
Thank you, April. And I think you brought up a lot of great points. One I just want to point out is professors probably feel just as isolated as the students do. Most professors teach because they enjoy being in the classroom, they enjoy engaging with the students. So the struggle that we're having as students, I would imagine is the same struggle on the other side. So students that do go to office hours, I would imagine it's a win-win, that the students are getting something out of it and the professors are having some human interaction as well. So thanks for sharing that. That was really good.
And it's kind of like that first time that you reach out is the scariest, kind of like what Kirsten was saying earlier, like that first event that you're like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to this is the scariest. And then after that, wouldn't you say it gets easier? Yeah. Okay, the next question is going to go over to Jovan. How are you making connections with other students? So we had a lot of parents and students too who wrote in and asked about, particularly if they were a first semester student, how can I make connections?
So definitely for first semester students, I would say with whatever's happening right now with everything or with COVID and everything, I would tell them to, just get involved on campus. A lot of group orgs have been taking new members in, but um, are taking members through like Zoom meetings, and I just feel like the more that you get connected on, the more that you get connected through student organizations, the more like experiences that you can have with other students. Um, so like even with everything going on, I had an opportunity to get to know my classmates through a class, and I didn't know that I could make like a connection through a student athlete, me, and then a 20-year Army vet. And so it's just you'll be given opportunities to connect with other students, but also don't be afraid to put yourself out there because you're meeting other people through Zoom meetings. And so it's going to be great for you have just give yourself a chance to go out there. And I also work at the rec center, and with everything going and it's just really fun because all of the best um all the best people that I met on campus, or all the best people that I met were on campus experiences for me. And so definitely just get yourself involved on campus.
And for those students who are far from campus and aren't able to go, like Jovan said, there are a lot of ways to get involved virtually. So for example, like the Involvement Center is the website that lists all the clubs and organizations, and they've updated their websites to show their Zoom meetings. And we're going to talk a little bit about homecoming as well. Are there any other students that could chime in here maybe and talk about kind of that across the miles? How do you get involved when you aren't right there next to campus?
I can jump in on this one for you, Heather. I think that it is important. Javon touched on a lot of the points. I know the Rec Center has done a lot of great virtual events. Again, like I mentioned before, utilizing your college. Your college has a ton of events. I didn't even know how much my college has to offer, and there's cool ones. And the neat thing too about this virtual world is that you can attend other colleges events and other areas events, and they're allowing it. So the College of Hospitality always has some really awesome learn how to make food, learn how to make drinks because of all their expertise in the fields from people all around the US. So that's something I recommend. And again, utilizing those resources. April talked about the peer mentorship program. I think that's fantastic. I think that having someone to connect and make those friends is so important. I moved here in January from Canada, and so I haven't really had an opportunity to make many friends because we went on lockdown just a few months later, right after spring break. So for myself, it's really trying to engage with my classmates virtually. I'll send Web Campus has an awesome feature. You can actually send an email to your entire class without even sending the professor. So I'll send an email, hey everyone, does anyone want to create a study group? Or if I find myself, chatting in the chat box on Zoom to a classmate, maybe get their number so I can reach out to them after, share notes, anything like that's been really helping me because, again, I've been feeling that little bit of isolation, not being around, my family because they're so far away or friends. So I think that, again, what everyone said is definitely get involved online, engage, and as much as it's, being isolated sometimes is hard. We want to just recluse and hide, and sometimes you can get away with it because no one's like, oh, they haven't shown up today in person. But as hard as it is, we keep reaching out, talking to friends, family, all of that. That's so important to do. So that's just some things that have helped me.
Thank you so much. And we always tell students that you just need to come a few steps on the bridge and put yourself out there, like you said, and then somebody will grab your hand and pull you the rest of the way. And that's what a lot of the upper class students will do in these clubs and organizations, as well as your professors too. So thank you. Latoya?
Yep. And just to add a little bit onto that section, keep in mind that I mentioned parents should be part of social media to keep up, but students as well. We have a lot of activities, and with the virtual world, the only way we can publicize what's going on is through our social media. So I know the residence halls, their RAs put together activities for those students. The rec center has been mentioned a few times. It is open. It's not open as often as it used to be, but Monday through Friday, we're open 8 to 8. We have free group fitness classes. We've spread out. We're at the gym. If you don't want to come in person, all of our fitness classes are also online on YouTube's website. So again, we're trying to keep you engaged. I'm a big sport fan currently, can't play basketball, can't play football. So what can we do? We've got online gaming, we've got esports, we've got poker tournaments, we've got trivia tournaments. So we're trying to find a niche for everyone. And I think different places throughout campus is doing the same thing. So you got to get on social media so you can find out what's going on. And then again, social media, virtual world is going to roll right into the whole idea of online. And I wanted to start with Judy. What has it been like being 100% online for you?
So being 100% remotely online has definitely been a little harder. I feel as we progress more into this new transition, expectations are starting to get higher. So it's definitely required a lot more practice and a lot more fine tuning. So definitely checking your time management skills, your communication skills, checking that email constantly if there's any updates, planning. Planning has been a very, very crucial skill to perfect. But that's pretty much how my experience has been.
All right, thank you. And Janie, how's your experience been going online?
Yeah, I wanted to add that all my classes are like online, even like my practicum. So usually for your practicum, you would like go on into the field and you would, be in the classroom with the students and with your mentor teacher. But it's crazy because it's online. I don't go to class. I log on a Google Meet and I see my mentor teacher and I see my students. I don't get to see my students half the time because they don't, have their cameras on. So it's very, it is like very different. So I think one important thing is to just kind of be adaptable and kind of be flexible with it and try to make it work. This is what we're living in now. So I have to get used to it. I have to get comfortable with it, find new ways to engage in my learning and to engage in my classes. And so with that being said, there's not a lot of in-person instruction anymore, right? So it is, I would say, more independent work regarding your classes. So you will have to take that kind of initiative to, log on to class every day and do your work. But, I also want you guys to know that you can always reach out to your professors, like we mentioned before. During all of these events happening, your professors are, very understanding of the circumstances. And I actually, I was like struggling this earlier in the semester, and I reached out to a professor. I was just like, hey, is there any way that I can get like an extension on like this assignment? And he was very understanding, like granted me like an extra 2 days to like finish my assignment. So it's really about communication and being able to communicate when you need that help to your professors or faculty, things like that. And then lastly, I would say definitely what helped me during this time is establishing a schedule and a routine. Like I said, it's hard, very distracting when you're home all day. And, I go to school from home. I also work from home. So I spend a lot of time in my chair. So establishing that schedule and routine, it's, simple things like getting up and getting ready for the day, not getting dressed up, like, washing my face or like making the bed, kind of helps me get into that mindset of like being productive, having a productive day ahead of me. So I think just finding ways to, like I said, adapt in this time has really helped me.
Thank you for that, Janie. There is probably the number one question we get about online learning from both students and family members is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous classes, because a lot of professors will write it in their syllabi or it'll be in the posting for the class. And so synchronous classes are when your professor says, we're going to meet Tuesday, Thursday at 5 o'clock. So you'll have your WebEx camera on and you'll see all the different folks that are logged into class, and everybody's there together. So typically the professor will share their PowerPoint, their lecture notes, whatever it might be, and you have a class discussion with everyone there. And then the flip side of that is asynchronous. So the professor might say, every Tuesday, videos or notes or whatever it is needed for that class is going to post every Tuesday at 5 o'clock. Homework assignment is also posted, and you have until the following week or whatever their guidelines might be to get it done. So again, synchronous, we're all synchronized, we're all together. Asynchronous, we're all, hey, just getting there when we get there. So one thing that you said that made me think also is, when I'm in an online class, I not only like to make a connection with my professor, but also the students in my class. So most of us, or all of us, probably log in through Web Campus. If you go to your mailbox, you can see all the students in your class. And I like to just shoot a message at the beginning, because it never fails. As soon as the teacher hangs up or turns off their camera, and tomorrow, the next day, I go to do something, and I'm like, man, what was that? I would rather sometimes call my student peers rather than the professor to ask that one small question. So a lot of times you can get a homework group out of it. I've done virtual coffees with classmates that I've just met. So again, it's all about connection. Even though it's virtual, I think we can find ways to keep connecting.
And those Zoom breakout rooms are so great. You know, when you go into a smaller group and then you just meet like 6 or 7 people, it's so helpful for making those connections too, if you're one of those folks that doesn't like to reach out in the big group. So, okay, let's shift into talking about advising and registration for the spring. So we're coming up on that time where students will have to register for spring classes, and very similar to the FAFSA, this is a first come, first serve basis, and everyone gets an appointment in my UNLV. So back in the day, an appointment would mean that you'd have to show up in person. And in this case, it's a window of time that you can log in to register for your classes. So you really want to be ready to go for that. So maybe let's go to Judith and then April. If you could talk about why students should go see an advisor in October.
So planning, I think, sets the stage for success. I apologize. It is crucial to very early on know what to expect for the upcoming semesters and to prepare. But it's also, the sooner the better, because it does get very saturated, and it is important to try and fit in your appointment to know what to expect for the upcoming semesters. Something to note, if you are an honors college student, if you are an athlete, or by any circumstance you are giving early registration, it is very important to check my UNLV and be aware of what is your enrollment time, because classes will fill up fast. And that is just my personal input.
Thank you. April, do you have a little more to add to that?
Yeah, for sure. So personally, just like Judith, advising is so important. I think that other than, like I said earlier, professors, kind of, it's a stigma that they don't care. I think a lot of people have a problem with their advisors and not having that connection. And I have realized throughout my time that it is so important to have an established connection with your advisor. I can only speak so highly of my advisors in the College of Education. Personally, my advisor, Nancy Esposito, has become someone more than just an advisor to me. She's a mentor. She's someone that I go to with questions unrelated. She sends me job opportunities, scholarship opportunities. Our advisors at UNLV are some of the most incredible people, and they really care about you and setting you up for success. So I cannot stress enough, go get an advising appointment at all costs. Meet with your advisor in October before registration comes around, because I know that it is a different way that we're having to register this year. While you might be able to make an appointment in person and have someone physically show you how my UNLV and the planner and everything on my UNLV works, this year you can't do that. So instead of that, you really need to get online and make that appointment. I just can't express enough, especially working with peer mentor, being a peer mentor myself. All of my mentees are already nervous about registration because they haven't had to do it on their own yet. So this is a unique opportunity for students to know what they're doing and know what they're going to be having to do for the next 4 years in their journey at UNLV. So registration, super important, super coming up fast, and having an advisor there to lead your path is just something that's invaluable.
So in high school, for those of you who have first year students, typically the classes were assigned to your students and they just had to pick whether they wanted to have art or dance, for example. But in this case, they have to actually go in and physically register from a list of thousands of classes. So those advisors are going to help them make a plan for 4 years and help them stay on track. And typically we talk about 15 credits to finish. 15 to finish is the expression, and that means that you're basically taking at least 5 classes each semester so that you finish in 4 years. Now, every major is different, so sometimes 15 credits is not possible, or for whatever reason your student may need to drop down a little bit, but just know that every time they take less than 15 credits, it means they have to make it up somewhere, whether that means taking a summer class or having a semester where they do a credit overload and take 18 credits, which is very, very hard. So that's what the academic advisor is going to help them with, making this plan, and as the students say, showing them where to register. So the advisors are in each of the colleges based on the students' majors, and they really know the classes that they need very well, and they're all doing either online or telephone appointments right now. So encourage your student to make that appointment this week for sure. Okay, so I think, Latoya, we're going to transition just a little bit and talk about homecoming. It has a very different feel this year. Stay home for homecoming is the theme. And at the time when they created all of these events, we weren't playing football, but now it sounds like we are going to be playing some football. So the schedule, I know they're still trying to kind of work it all out. But the events themselves are October 18th through 23rd. And the events are virtual, like a dance party, a variety show, a trivia night, and a Netflix party. And the website is unlv.edu/homecoming. And Latoya, I was thinking maybe we could have a little competition maybe between you and me for office decorating, because you've got a really rockin' display behind you there too.
We sure could. And just to follow up on that, again, the schedule, for football, it's kind of been up and down, but as of now, we're slated to play San Diego State. So again, get your students to join. It's virtual homecoming. We've got virtual window painting and graphic design contests, which I think is pretty exciting. And you never know who you're going to meet. You could meet your best friend for the next 10, 15, 20 years in some of these events. So I just encourage you all to get involved and get connected.
Thank you so much. And I'll just ask Adam if there were any other questions that you saw that came in. We really tried to cover everything that parents and families had asked us. And we really just want to say that parents and family members are a very important part of this process. And students, you can chime in on this too if you want to talk at all about how your families have supported you. When your student is in first grade and you're studying spelling words with them, it's very different than when they're in college, but they still need that encouragement from you. So saying that you're very proud of them and that they can do it and you believe in them and that they belong in college, all of those messages are really important for them to succeed. So students, I'll just throw this out there. Is there anything that you'd like to acknowledge with your own families of somebody who's really helped you?
I can start. I think my mom and dad are actually watching right now, so they're still supporting me, even though, getting older in life throughout college. My parents have always been my biggest support system. Even when my friends thought I was crazy, to move to another country, to pursue a master's degree or any degree if you're undergraduate in something that I could have probably, maybe not the same experience back home because it's hospitality. My parents were the number one support system. They're like, you have to do this, we're behind you. My dad drove with me all the way from Canada, my little car. We drove all the way. It was like a 4-day road trip down here. So having your support, I think for parents, being there for your students. And a big thing is supporting them even through the changes. If you've always dreamed of your student wanting to be, a dentist, but they're coming back and saying, I found so much passion for art, being that person to support them, you don't know how much that's going to mean to them, that you're there, that you're holding their hands through it, you're cheering them on, you're wanting to see all the things that they've done. If they want to practice with you all the crazy stuff they've learned, or, hey, I have a huge test, can I just talk to you about this stuff? Being there for them means the world. And for those students who might not necessarily have, their parental figures in their life, people who are like that, aunts, uncles, grandparents, any of you who are there, it means everything when you say, I'm proud of you, you got this.
I told you all that I was probably going to cry during this, right? I mean, that's so beautiful, Kirsten. Thank you. And I'll say that on the family Facebook page, we asked families to post pictures of themselves with their student. And it's just so, oh, there it is. It's so beautiful, all of the pictures that are coming in. So if you're not in our UNLV family Facebook group, certainly send us the request. There's 2 questions to answer, and then we'll let you into the group. So it was just really fun seeing all of these great pictures today. It certainly made our day. So Adam, I'll kick it back over to you. Is there anything else that we missed?
No, I think that this was great. We didn't have any questions in the chat, but as I said, you can always pose the questions in the Facebook group, or email us. And I pulled up the Facebook group here. You can find it. It's just Facebook/groups/UNLV Family Network. If you'll remember all that, you probably won't. Just type in UNLV Family Network and you'll find it. And so Heather keeps a really great, robust dialogue there. And I'm just cycling through and showing you some of the pictures. Now, but yeah, I think that is pretty much. Am I covering everything?
I think so, and I think maybe Judy, did you want to say one last thing before we wrap it up?
It was kind of just some input to the last question, and parents, I think, like was mentioned before, are a great support system. We definitely need them in these very hard moments. Right now, applying to nationally competitive fellowships and Ivy League schools has been incredibly stressful, and just I've experienced imposter syndrome. But I think definitely having my parents there for support system and giving me a hug or a smile at the end of the day has definitely helped. So parents, don't be shy. Definitely support us. We need your help.
You belong, Judith. We believe in you too. And I know that in the provost office too, they always talk about reflexive learning, and Kirsten mentioned this a little bit, that it's not going to be perfect. There are going to be these ups and downs, and you may take a class that you didn't know you were going to fall in love with, and suddenly that sort of steers you in a different direction. So we do encourage family members to be open to these things that students are interested in. So again, thank you all for being here today, and for everybody out there who's watching this and who's going to watch in the future. We'd love to be in touch with you, and thank you for being supportive family members. Bye, Elle.
Bye.